Hello, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. It's been a pretty mild winter when it comes to snow, at least. We've had some pretty frigid temperatures like the rest of the country has lately, down around 0 degrees. We had a little stint of that. Tomorrow they're calling for a winter storm though. And I really only plowed once with my tractor, the 1025R. During that snow I only needed to use the bucket. So it was a pretty light snow, maybe about 4 or 5 inches, and just a quick touch up of the driveway. But tomorrow we're expecting probably around 9 to 10 inches, and we'll just have to wait and see exactly how much we're going to get. My driveway, however, does not have a lot of packed snow in it right now. So I have two choices tomorrow. I could use the loader bucket with edge tamers on it, or I could use the plow. So if you're wondering what's best for you in a particular situation when it comes to cleaning up snow, why don't you stick around and we'll talk about some of the various options you got out there. I have a situation here that's kind of probably not unique to everybody, but I have about 700 feet of gravel driveway, and then near the house I have a good maybe 30 to 40 feet of concrete with a little bit of a turnaround to it. So when it comes to cleaning up the snow around here, I kind of need to have the bucket, but when it comes to a long driveway like this, it's much better to have a plow blade on the front of the tractor. Now some of you might be asking about using a snow blower or a snow thrower, and that's great if you have a nice paved concrete driveway or asphalt all the way from front to the street. That is perfect for that sort of application, but for my driveway, using a snow blower type device with the tractor, you would just be kicking up a lot of rocks and shooting rocks way out. Best thing for me for a long distance is just sticking with the snow blade. So ideal conditions here would be like 1 or 2 inches of very packed solid snow or even ice. And that's perfect for the blade of the snow plow to just kind of glide over the top of and clear snow out of here. We really don't have that. And what's going to happen is if I go to use my plow, let's say we only get a couple inches of snow and I go to use my plow, the feet of the plow are going to want to dig into this gravel and kick up the gravel, and the blade is going to start gouging into the gravel itself of the driveway. But if I had a nice packed hard surface, about 1 to 2 inches, that would be perfect for the feet just to glide over the top of it, and the blade might gouge into the snow a little bit, but it's not going to be digging up all my gravel and pushing it off to the side of the driveway. So we'll just have to see how much snow we're going to get tomorrow and see what kind of tools we have to pull out of the toolbox to get things accomplished. So let's see how this goes. Oh, good morning. We had about a 24-hour event with, I'd say maybe about 10 to 12 inches of snow altogether. We had some pretty good periods where it was falling pretty heavy, and then a few intervals in between. But the last of the snow just happened maybe about an hour ago, and now it's time to clean it all up. So we've got about 10 to 12 inches out there, and I'm going to start out with the plow, and that way I could just start doing the long parts of my driveway first. Also, I need to do my neighbors across the street, so we'll see if I keep the plow on or need to just use the bucket over there. Now this plow would work even better if I were going faster, but I don't want to take a chance on hitting something or the blade digging into the gravel and coming to a sudden stop. If you're debating on whether to get a plow like this is a 72-inch plow, and there is a little bit of a learning curve when you start using it. As you're well aware, you have two loader functions, raise and lower, and then the curl function. So the curl function comes into play if your blade is on a sharp angle like it is here. It'll take a little bit of adjustment to make sure you're getting a nice smooth path. The easiest way of plowing with one of these blades is if you just have the plow straight on with no angle at all. And then with the curl function, you're just going to use that to determine how much you really want to dig into the surface. I talked about snowblowers early on in this video, and they do come in handy if you're in a climate that normally gets feet of snow every time it snows and accumulates. If that were to occur here, it'd be much more difficult to use this plow, and I can only push so much off to the side before I would have to use the loader bucket and do a tedious job of trying to get the snow off of the edges of the driveway. But using a two-stage blower, you can direct that snow further away from the driveway and not worry about it piling up on the edges. A two-stage blower is going to be more expensive, and there is going to be more maintenance involved with it. I'm going to head across the street to my neighbor's. It looks like he's made a couple little paths just to get to the mailbox and out by the street, and I think I can handle this with just a plow blade. This driveway is not that long, and it is paved concrete. It does make me a little nervous when there's a vehicle left outside in the driveway. Just something I hope that I don't forget that it's there, especially when I'm backing up or it's in my blind spot. In this situation, I'm going to push most of his snow out towards the street, and then I'll come from the street side and just push it off to the sides of his driveway. Just a little touch up and he should be good to go. Now in the past 5 years, the snow pushers have become really popular, and those seem to be the go-to now when you see like a shopping market parking lot that have these stationed when there is a heavy snow. Those are great if you don't have a large driveway or parking area and it doesn't pile up. It gives you a chance to just push it off. It does have a nice little edge on it too, so you can get close to like a garage door and back drag that snow. All in all, I'm not doing that too bad. I've kept the plow blade a little bit higher so I'm not gouging into the gravel because there isn't a nice base under there. But if the tractor doesn't stay completely level, so if there's bumps in your driveway, divots, chuck holes, or even just an uneven grade, it's going to temporarily change the depth of your blade. Here I'm just going to push the snow and pile it up in an area. I'm going to have to go switch out the bucket, and that way I can take the snow away from around the house and the foundation area and dump it a little further into the yard. Here's just a quick demonstration of using the curl function to try to level out the blade when it's on an angle. In the comments below, I'd appreciate if you have a particular attachment you'd like to use for the snow and why, what's your situation. Can you get away with just a bucket? Do you use edge tamers? Do you have a rear blade? Do you think a rear blade is better than a front blade? I'd be glad to hear your comments, and I'm sure others out there who are thinking about making purchases would also like to know. So this is just a side note on producing these videos. I probably should have picked a different subject besides tractors working outside, being involved with mud and snow and everything, because my camera sure do take a beating. I've gotten a lot of comments before. I used to pile the snow up a little bit closer to the house, and a lot of people would say that you're going to create foundation problems, all that stuff's going to melt, and you're going to have issues. Why are you stacking the snow so close to your house? So I'm using my bucket here so I can take some of the snow and put it further down into the yard. All right, so that was a good example of a 1-2 punch using the loader bucket and the plow. I'm just going to do a little bit more of a touch up here, and then I need to go grab my garbage cans out by the end of the street. They collected our rubbish yesterday morning. I didn't want to drag it through the snow, so I'm going to put my little carrier on the front of the bucket, and I'm going to just carry them back without having to drag them back all this way. And then I'm just going to do a few little touch-ups of cleanup, and that should be it for today. So I appreciate everybody watching. Hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Clicking that little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out. And keep an eye on us. Stay warm, everybody. Okay, so typically I end these videos with a drone shot because it's kind of dramatic. It's like a parting shot, far away as we're leaving, saying goodbye. But I noticed with this little project here that the drone was acting peculiar, and I think it was the cold weather. The temperature was around 10 or 12 degrees, and it started flying erratic, and the return to home function started. Like here, it almost hit this tree, and I caught it at the last minute. And when I was doing that parting shot, something happened where it started returning to home. When it returns to home, it usually climbs to a certain altitude. Once it reaches that altitude, then it goes to where it remembers that it launched to. The only problem is if you're in a canopy of trees like I am, and it's going to go up to a certain altitude, odds are it's going to hit those tree branches. So the drone went up, hit some tree branches. I saw it hit the tree branches, came down, started recovering a little bit, hit more tree branches, recovered a little bit, and then it just broke off a couple propellers and crashed to the ground. I've had drones for about 8 years now. This is my third one, and I've maybe clipped a few branches here and there, but I've never crashed it. And this time it's pretty much beyond repair. It looks like that the gimbal's broke on it. The camera is still working, but without the gimbal it's pretty much useless. That buzzing sound is not a good sound. It just means the motors keep trying to correct itself and it won't. Looks like this gimbal shot. I did look up maybe getting a new gimbal for it, and then the price of my drone, and really if I wanted to resell this thing I could only get about $200 for it at best, not including shipping and all the other things. So I'm a little heartbroken about it, but not too heartbroken because I have had it for a while. But you may see me do a couple power station reviews because I could turn around and sell those, and I can recoup the cost of buying a new drone quickly rather than trying to get it through revenue and YouTube.